Hey, everybody. Coach Burnside here with you once again. I'm excited to be back today. What a great opportunity for us to sit down. Along with me today, as always, is Coach Cox, one of our other executive partners and coaches in this system and program. And it's always exciting to have him along with what we have going on. So he's downtown today. Took a moment to be with us. And so what we're going to do right now in the coach's clip, we're going to share with you our coolest thing that happened to us this week, or our light bulb moment, if you will. And it's always amazing. We shoot these videos every week, and I always still come up with something to say every week. You know, just when you think you've learned most all of what there is to learn, you understand that you're still learning every moment, every day that there is. So, Coach Cox, you want to take it first, or you want me to go first?
Um, I'll jump in and go first today and see if our light bulb moments match up again. Yeah, this week, I think my light bulb moment for this week was interesting. Working with one of my employees, I want to just share something with people as you're coaching executives or you're coaching your individuals. When you leave, or like what Jim Collins says from a book called Good to Great, he says transferring from one bus to another. So if you're leaving one career and going to another, one of the things you got to be very cautious of is you have to have a separation. You have to leave the other company and be committed to your new company. Because sometimes employees will come over and say, well, we did it like this at this other place, or they'll kind of be stuck that, kind of like that high school Heisman Trophy winner. If they're still stuck in when I was in high school, I threw 50 yards, and they tell the stories maybe in a group or whatever. So what I'm trying to get to is when you show up to work and you're at that new place, come ready, be committed to the company that you are, be the champion of that company, and make sure that you divorce the other company, in a sense, just figuratively speaking, and that you're 100% present, because it's going to affect your work. And then also, we were talking to a good friend today, is use the tools you have in front of you. Don't complain what you don't have. Because a lot of times we say, well, I can't do my job unless Rusty gives me a nail gun and this, or I can't build this. But if I have a saw and a hammer and some nails and some old plywood, I can build something. I can make something out of it. Maybe not me, but maybe you, Coach Burnside. But, the big thing is that what I always want people to understand when an executive is coaching their people, a lot of times the employees say, well, I don't have this, I can't do my job. Or if I don't have this, I need this before I'm successful. Those are just resources. You can go out and get resources anywhere. You can't get passion, you can't get commitment. You got to look for character-based individuals. So that was kind of my light bulb moment, Coach Burnside, is I think when it comes to hiring and looking at people, you need to hire by character and by passion, not by experience and degrees. Because if I go the other way and they don't have passion or character, they can have all the dang information in the world, but they don't have any passion and character, they're never going to pull the trigger and go do it. So that was my light bulb moment. Was it any similar to yours?
Interesting this week, because that was different from mine this week. Okay. But what was similar is what we talked about on the very first, on the coach's clip, on how we could manage our time a little bit better. So it's funny how that question comes in and relates to mine. But I liked your point because, yeah, definitely, I think that happens all the time in organizations. We leave an organization we don't like and go to another one and try to make it the same way of what we didn't like. So it's kind of interesting how we do that. But I like that comment. So for me, mine this week is I've been reading a book on managing time and commitment and different things. And they talked in there about what they call their MIT, the most important task. And, it's funny how I'm a task-oriented person. It's funny how I'm a coach, and I'm supposed to be pretty organized, right, and have all this stuff put in place. And I'm supposed to be the expert on this. And I sit down, and I told you that I like to-do lists. That's kind of I enjoy checking things off. It's my personality. Maybe some of you aren't that way, but I really enjoy checking things off. It makes me feel like I'm getting things done and things accomplished. But one thing that I don't do on that to-do list is always put the most important task first, and then schedule time for that most important task. And really this week I've been focusing on putting my most important task first and scheduling time, actually putting it on my calendar that I'm going to go do this. Because if you're like me, you'll notice on your to-do list the same thing that is kind of not it's really important, but it's not the funnest thing to do on the list. It stays there forever. Like 3 weeks later, it's still there. And 4 weeks later, it's still there. So what I learned this week is, for me, is to label it as the most important task. Because, yeah, one item on there might be number 10, but next week it might be number 3 because you've got other things out of the road. But what I know about that is when I label it as one of my most important tasks and I actually schedule time to do it, it finally gets off my list and it gets done instead of staying on there, because admit it, we've all had that to-do list with a certain item that's been on there for months, maybe years. And so as we go and talk about that, as we go through the challenge, you'll find that in our challenges. As we challenge you through the coach's challenge part of this, you're going to find out that we challenge you on certain things to go forward. And you're going to be like, man, I've been trying to work on that for 3 years. Well, make it important. Label it as the most important task. Assign it a slot in your calendar. Get it done. And it's actually worked great for me this week. I've been really excited about how I've really been able to just plan out my weeks. And I have my days scheduled out. And I go from appointment to appointment. Even though it's my to-do list, it's really appointment to appointment. I get a lot more done. So that's my takeaway for the week. So there you have it. So interesting. Really liked and enjoyed Coach Cox's comments. As always, it's an opportunity for me to learn. Every time I get on here, I learn. I hope you guys are doing the same thing. Because at the end of the day, we just want to add value. As Coach Cox can testify this, we just want to add value to you and change your life. Not only change your business world and the executive committee and where you are. I know that, this program is so based around executives and those type of things. But at the end of the day, these are things we can do at home. These are things we can pass on to our family members. These are things we can pass on to people in our community and whatever it might be. So we hope you gain value in them, because that's really what we want at the end of the day. That's what we're after here. So as always, we're excited to be with you, and we'll see you back on the next Coach's Clip from time to time. And don't forget, send us in any questions, comments, concerns you might have. Be glad to hear from them. Until we meet again, remember, we're all coaches, and we need to coach today as if we are the coach of tomorrow.